Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest with you. Tomorrow is not just another Tuesday, and if you've been feeling something building in the air lately, like this strange pressure in your chest or this restless energy you just can't shake, there's a very specific reason for that. You're not imagining it. March 10th, 2026 is bringing one of the most intense romantic portals of the entire year, and I know that might sound dramatic, but stay with me on this one. Because what's happening tomorrow isn't just some minor astrological transit. I really believe this is the universe's way of paying people back for all the emotional work they've been doing, all the healing, all the boundary setting, all the quiet growth that nobody saw. And here's what's really getting my attention. While this energy is going to touch everyone, there are 3 specific zodiac signs that are about to experience something really profound, like confession-level profound. The kind of moment where someone finally speaks a truth that's been buried for months, maybe even years. If you're a Scorpio, Taurus or Pisces, or if you have significant placements in these signs, I really need you to pay attention to what I'm about to share. Because the planetary alignment happening tomorrow is setting up a moment that could completely shift the trajectory of your love life. But before we get into the specifics of each sign, there's something critical you need to understand about this portal, and honestly, if you miss this one piece, you might not recognize the opportunity when it shows up. I'll explain exactly what that is later in this video, so make sure you stay until the end. First though, let me break down what's actually happening tomorrow, because once you understand the mechanics of this, everything else is going to make so much more sense. Tomorrow, 2 massive transits converge, and that's not a coincidence. So here's what most people don't realize about March 10th. It's not just one transit, it's 2 incredibly powerful astrological events happening on the exact same day, within 21 hours of each other. And when I first saw this alignment, I had this moment of just, wow, because the timing of this feels almost too perfect to be random. The first event happens early in the morning at 2:50 at night. Venus, the planet that governs love, attraction, relationships, and what we value, forms an exact sextile to Pluto. Now, if you're not super familiar with astrology, a sextile is a harmonious 60-degree angle between planets. It's supportive, it opens doors, it creates opportunities that you can actually use. But here's where it gets intense. Venus is currently in Aries, which is bold, direct, and fearless, and Pluto is in Aquarius, which demands radical truth and authentic connection. When these 2 link up, something happens. I think it creates this energetic window where the deepest, most vulnerable truths about love and desire suddenly become impossible to keep hidden. This isn't surface-level attraction. This is the kind of transit that pulls up everything you've been feeling but haven't been able to say. All those unspoken feelings, all that magnetic pull you've been trying to rationalize away. It all comes to the surface tomorrow. And then, and this is the part that really seals it, just 21 hours later, at 11:30 at night, Jupiter stations direct in Cancer. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, luck, and rewards. And it's been retrograde since November, which means for the past 4 months, any kind of forward romantic momentum has probably felt stuck, stalled, like you've been doing all this internal work, but nothing's actually moving in the external world, right? Well, tomorrow that changes. When Jupiter stations direct, it's like a dam breaking. All that blocked energy, all that delayed manifestation, all those rewards you've been patiently waiting for, they start flowing again. And because Jupiter is in Cancer, which is all about emotional connection and deep nurturing love, this isn't just any kind of breakthrough. I believe this is specifically about romantic and emotional fulfillment. So when you combine the Venus-Pluto sextile with the Jupiter direct station happening on the same day, what you get is this: the courage to speak your truth, meeting the universe's willingness to reward that truth. Does that make sense? This is what karmic payback actually looks like. I want to pause here for a second because I think the concept of karmic payback gets thrown around a lot, but most people don't really understand what it means. So let me be clear about what I think is happening tomorrow. Since November, while Jupiter has been retrograde, I believe the universe has been asking you to do something really difficult. It's been asking you to grow emotionally without seeing immediate results, to set boundaries even when it felt lonely, to heal old wounds even when nobody was watching, to trust that something better was coming even when your current reality was showing you zero evidence of that. And if you've been doing that work, if you've been choosing yourself, honoring your feelings, and refusing to settle for connections that don't truly serve you, tomorrow is when I think the universe starts paying you back for all of that. This isn't about manifesting from a place of desperation or need. This is about being rewarded for choosing growth over comfort, for choosing truth over convenience, for choosing your own emotional well-being even when it was hard. And here's what I've been noticing. The people who are going to experience the most profound shifts tomorrow are the ones who've been doing the quiet, unglamorous work. The ones who've been sitting with their feelings instead of running from them. The ones who've been building a relationship with themselves first. Because that's what Jupiter in Cancer rewards, not the flashy external stuff, the deep internal emotional maturity. And when that meets the bold, transformative energy of Venus and Pluto tomorrow, things that seemed impossible suddenly become inevitable. But first, you had to survive the gauntlet. Now, I need to back up for a second because what's happening tomorrow didn't come out of nowhere. The past week has been absolutely intense, and if you've been feeling like you're being put through some kind of cosmic test, you're not wrong. I think you have been. Let me walk you through what's been building. On March the 2nd, Mars entered Pisces. Mars is the planet of action and desire, and in Pisces, it becomes more intuitive, more emotional, more willing to act on faith rather than logic. That shift started softening the collective approach to love and pursuit. Then on March 3rd, we had a total lunar eclipse in Virgo. Eclipses are intense, they're like cosmic scalpels that cut away what's not working. And this one specifically targeted relationships that were built on perfectionism, codependency, or just pure convenience. If a connection couldn't survive that eclipse, it wasn't meant to make it to tomorrow's portal. On March 6th, Venus entered Aries. This is when things really started heating up. Venus in Aries doesn't wait, it doesn't hint, it doesn't play games, it goes after what it wants with full force. And I've been feeling this myself, this sudden impatience with anything that feels wishy-washy or unclear. But then, and this was the real test, on March 7th and 8th, Venus made exact conjunctions to both Neptune and Saturn in Aries. First Neptune, which created this beautiful, almost intoxicating romantic fantasy. And then Saturn, which immediately asked, "Okay, but is this actually real? Can you build something solid with this, or is it just an escape?" That weekend was brutal for a lot of people, because Saturn doesn't let you hide in fantasy. It demands reality, and I think a lot of connections that seemed promising just crumbled under that pressure. And honestly, that needed to happen, because only the connections with real structural integrity were meant to make it to tomorrow. So if you've been feeling emotionally wrung out this past week, if you've been questioning everything, if you've felt like you're being pushed to your absolute limit, that's why. You had to be cleared out. You had to be tested, because tomorrow's portal is too powerful to waste on something that isn't real. Scorpio, the confession is coming from where you least expect it. All right, let's get into the 3 signs, and I want to start with Scorpio because honestly, this transit is like it was designed specifically for you. Here's the thing, Pluto is your modern ruler, so when Pluto is involved in a major transit, you feel it more deeply than almost anyone else. You're tuned into this frequency in a way that's almost supernatural. And tomorrow, when Venus sextiles Pluto, I believe you're going to feel this pull in your chest that's impossible to ignore. But here's what's really interesting about the way this is showing up for you. The Venus-Pluto sextile is activating your 6th house and your 4th house. And if you're not familiar with houses, let me translate that for you. The 6th house is your daily routine, your work, the people you see regularly, and the 4th house is your emotional foundation, your sense of home and belonging. What this tells me is that the romantic shift coming your way tomorrow isn't going to be some dramatic, out-of-nowhere moment with a stranger. I think it's going to emerge from someone who's already in your life. Someone you see regularly. Maybe a colleague. Maybe someone in your friend group. Maybe someone who's been quietly observing you for months. Maybe even years. And here's where it gets intense. Because you're a Scorpio, you probably already sense this. You probably already feel the undercurrent. You might have noticed the way someone looks at you when they think you're not paying attention. Or the way certain conversations linger a little too long. You've been reading the energy, but you haven't said anything. Tomorrow, I think that silence breaks. Either they're going to finally verbalize what's been building, or you're going to feel compelled to address the elephant in the room. And when that happens, the magnetism is going to be undeniable. But here's the beautiful part. Jupiter stationing direct in your 9th house means this isn't just about immediate gratification. This is about expansion, long-term potential. This could be the kind of connection that opens up your entire world, that makes you want to travel, learn, grow together. It feels fated, Scorpio, and I think you're going to know it the moment it happens. Taurus, someone's secret is about to surface. Okay, Taurus, your experience tomorrow is going to be completely different from Scorpio's. And honestly, when I first looked at your chart for this transit, I had this moment of, oh wow, this is going to catch you completely off guard. Here's what's happening for you. Venus is your ruling planet, so any major Venus transit is always going to directly impact your life. But tomorrow, Venus is moving through your 12th house. And the 12th house it's complicated. It's the house of secrets, hidden things, the subconscious, things that happen behind the scenes. When Venus in your 12th house sextiles Pluto in your 10th house, which is your public life, your career, your reputation, something hidden is being pulled into the light. And I really think this is going to manifest as someone revealing feelings they've been keeping secret from you. This could be a long-time friend who's been harboring romantic feelings but never said anything, or someone in your professional circle who's been admiring you from a distance. The key here is that you genuinely might not see this coming. This isn't someone who's been obviously flirting with you. This is someone who's been quiet about it, maybe even deliberately hiding it. And when they finally confess tomorrow, it's going to feel shocking, but also, and this is important, I think on some level, once they say it, you're going to realize you already knew. Your intuition has probably been picking up on subtle cues you didn't consciously register. Now here's where Uranus comes in. Uranus has been transiting through your sign for a while now, and it's all about unexpected disruption and radical change. On March 4th, Venus made a sextile to Uranus, which I think primed you for this. It started shaking you out of your comfort zone, making you more open to possibilities that would have seemed too unpredictable before. So when this confession happens tomorrow, you're going to have a choice. You can retreat back into your need for stability and certainty, or you can embrace the unexpected. And honestly, Taurus, I think the universe is really encouraging you to choose the latter, because later this month when Venus enters your sign on March 30th, you'll have the grounding energy you need to build something real with this. But right now, tomorrow is about being brave enough to say yes to the unknown. Pisces, this is your soulmate moment. All right, Pisces, I need you to really hear this, because out of all 3 signs, I believe you are the most directly positioned to receive what I would call a fated soulmate-level confession tomorrow. Here's why. You've been absolutely bombarded with planetary energy this month. The Sun is in your sign. Mercury is retrograde in your sign. Mars just entered your sign. The North Node of Destiny is in your sign. You are literally the focal point of the entire zodiac right now. And that Virgo lunar eclipse on March 3rd, that hit your relationship axis, the 1st house and 7th house, which means any toxic relationship patterns, any connections where you were playing the martyr or the victim, any dynamics that were draining you, they got cleared out, forcibly. So you're coming into tomorrow with a clean slate. And that matters because Jupiter stationing direct tomorrow is happening in your 5th house. And the 5th house is romance. Pure, joyful, creative, fated romance. This isn't casual dating energy. This is, I've been waiting for you my whole life energy. I think what's going to happen for you tomorrow feels less like a confession and more like recognition, like your soul is going to look at this person and just know. You might have known them before. You might be meeting them for the first time. But there's going to be this undeniable sense of, oh, it's you. And here's what I keep coming back to. Mercury retrograde in your sign has been bringing people back, exes, old connections, unfinished business. But I don't think those people are coming back for reconciliation. I think they're coming back to give you closure, to show you how much you've grown, to remind you what you don't want anymore. Because when the actual confession happens tomorrow, when the actual person who's meant for this new chapter shows up, you're going to feel the difference immediately. This won't feel heavy or complicated. It's going to feel like relief, like coming home. Jupiter in Cancer is giving you permission to trust your feelings again, Pisces, to believe in magic and synchronicity and divine timing without apologizing for it. And tomorrow, I really believe the universe is going to show you that you were right to keep your heart open. The one thing you absolutely cannot miss. Remember when I said there's something critical you need to understand about tomorrow's portal? This is it, and I really need you to pay attention here because this could make or break your entire experience. The Venus-Pluto sextile tomorrow is powerful, but it's not a guarantee, it's an opportunity, and the difference between those two things is massive. Here's what I mean. A sextile is a supportive aspect, but it requires action on your part. It's not like a conjunction or an opposition that just happens to you whether you're ready or not. A sextile opens a door, but you have to choose to walk through it. So if someone confesses their feelings to you tomorrow and you freeze up, if you let fear override the moment, if you retreat into old patterns of self-protection or doubt, the door closes. The energy moves on. And I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying this because I want you to be prepared. When the moment comes, and I really believe it will come for the 3 signs I've talked about, you need to meet it with openness, with honesty, with courage. This isn't the time to play it cool or act unaffected. This isn't the time to test the other person or make them prove themselves. This is the time to be real, to be vulnerable, to say what you actually feel instead of what you think you should say. Because the Jupiter direct station is supporting you. It's saying, I will back you up if you take this risk, but you have to take the risk first. After tomorrow, everything shifts. I want to talk for a second about what happens after the portal closes, because March 10th isn't the end of this energy, it's actually just the beginning. On March 13th, Mars is going to conjunct the North Node in Pisces, and in evolutionary astrology, the North Node represents destiny, your soul's path forward. When Mars, the planet of action, hits that point, it's like the universe is saying, the moves you make right now have serious long-term consequences. So if you initiate or receive a confession tomorrow, the actions you take in the days immediately following are going to set the trajectory for months to come. This isn't just a fleeting moment. This is the start of something that wants to build. And then, on March 15th, Mercury conjuncts Mars in Pisces, which means all those deep, vulnerable conversations that start tomorrow are going to need revisiting. You're going to talk it through again, process it on a deeper level, clear up any misunderstandings, and honestly, I think that second conversation might be even more important than the first. The point is, tomorrow is the spark, but what you do with that spark over the next week determines whether it becomes a flame or just fades out. This is bigger than just romance. Before I wrap this up, I want to zoom out for a second, because yes, tomorrow is about love confessions and romantic breakthroughs, but on a deeper level, I think this portal is about something much bigger. Pluto in Aquarius is restructuring how we relate to power, to authenticity, to truth itself, and the fact that Venus is linking with Pluto tomorrow means that our relationships are being asked to evolve too. We can't keep doing the same old patterns. We can't keep settling for surface-level connections or relationships built on what's expected instead of what's real. The confessions happening tomorrow aren't just romantic, they're existential. They're people finally admitting what they actually want instead of what they think they're supposed to want. They're about claiming desire without shame, about honoring attraction without apology. And Jupiter in Cancer is saying that when you do that, when you lead with emotional honesty and vulnerability, you will be rewarded, not in some abstract spiritual way, in real, tangible, life-changing ways. So if you're one of the 3 signs I talked about today, I really want you to go into tomorrow with your heart open, be present, be honest, be brave. Because I genuinely believe the universe is about to pay you back for all the faith you've been holding onto in the dark. All right, if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Seriously, it means a lot. If this resonated with you and you want to see more content like this, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. And please drop a comment below. I want to hear what you've been experiencing leading up to tomorrow, and I definitely want to hear what happens for you on March 10th. We're all in this together. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.